Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Dreams of Zion, episode 3, or 2A, if you want to call it that, because I did a short story yesterday and it didn't get published on the social medias, so you might have to go to YouTube to get episode 2 of Dreams of Zion. And Dreams of Zion is just me telling you short stories about um, the possibilities of the dreams of Zion. What Zion is the prophecy of Israel, and it foretells a gathering of the people of Israel to their tents at the time when this great and northern nation is destroyed in a sword destruction, which is what we're living with right now. And so right now is the perfect time for me to give you hope in the form of short stories, which is Dreams of Zion. So I think that first I should show you my dream. I was going to do another story today, but I think maybe I might do this one instead. Um, my story is told in the Book of Zion, through the prophecy, and in the Pot Smoker's Bible through my commentary of the prophecy. And my story is the story of the 54th chapter of the Book of Isaiah. I was born in 1962 on June 2nd, which is 6262. It's like a very, if you are a spiritualist, you will understand the significance of that 6262. Because that the vibration, the energy vibrations of that um, date in my birth is significant, especially considering that my mate was born 5757, another duality, which in spiritual terms and numerology is a very significant, powerful birth date. To have your numbers match like that is like powerful. My name is Brenda Lee Ann Hines. That is my legal born name. Now, that being said, Hines, Hines, it comes from English. And it comes from the keeper of the king's deer. And the king's deer in ancient times were called Hinds with a D, Hinds. And my name stems from that ancient Hinds. And in the prophecy, there is a passage that talks about being of the hinds feet. I have hinds feet because I'm Brenda Hines. But in the prophecy, I'm named Zion by the Grey. And they named me Zion. They started calling me Zion from the very first moment that we started communicating as alien to human. Because and that was in the 90s. Prior to the 90s, I had always known them as the God of Israel. So, I am the Hines of the Hines feet. My name is Brenda Lee Ann Hines, B-L-A-H, which in the prophecy is Beulah, B-U-L-A-H, which is my monogram, with a U added into it to make it a recognizable name in the ancient world. So Beulah becomes Brenda, and Hines is the Hines feet. And numerically speaking, I was born a very auspicious day. And I am also barren. I cannot have children because I was raped by my uncle when I was a toddler. And he just ripped up my cervix and just made it impossible for me to have children. And later on, um, and I was almost killed in that incident. And I'm told that the Grey intervened and saved my life at the request of my grandmother, who has since passed. And so I was saved, and I fit the bill for Isaiah 54. But I was a number of women of similar circumstance or similar backgrounds that were capable of following prophecy. But I was the one that succeeded. That's why I'm Zion. Because I found the prophecy of Israel. First, I found myself in the prophecy. I read Isaiah 54 and went, wait a minute. That describes me perfectly. And it was at that point that I decided, well, if the shoe fits, I might as well wear it. So I gave myself to the prophecy. And at that point, I started to question theology, the prophecy. When I started looking to the prophecy and looking to the Bible, to religion, to find my way with God because of a deal I had made with God when I was 17. And that deal was that if he would help end my pain and suffering, I would help him end the pain and suffering of others on earth, all others on earth. I was very explicit in that. It was like I would help him to end all suffering on this planet, which includes non-humans too, as a matter of fact. But anyway, by giving myself to God in this manner, I set myself in line with the prophecy. And when I became able to have children, the Grey used my genetic material, or they impregnated me. And that embryo was aborted because of my childhood medical problems. And so they took her embryo and saved her. And she was the first surviving hybrid, which is one of the reasons why I'm Zion. Because the oldest hybrid child is mine. And when my uterus was removed, they retrieved it also, I'm told, and used it as the genetic base for their population. So I actually am the mother of the hybrid Grey. So I would be their Eve, so to speak, which is another reason why I am in the position that I'm in. But mainly because I qualified in every regard, and I chose it for myself. When I chose it for myself, I set myself upon an adventure that is still unfolding, as a matter of fact, and that is to fulfill prophecy, to figure out how, and that was to figure out how to end the pain and suffering of the planet. And so I found my way to the prophecy, and then from the prophecy itself, I found my way to unraveling it, which was very simple. I had to put it in order. I took the various pieces of prophecy, line by line, precept by precept, and I rearranged them into their natural order, the only order that they could fit into, logically. And when I got finished with this work, the Book of Zion, and that was in like 2004, I believe. And so I found a set of instructions, literally, do this, 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 and this will happen. So I was like, okay, how in the hell do I do that? It took me a while to figure it out, but I did figure it out, obviously. And what I figured out was that I opened the Temple of Zion in York, Nebraska, and I sold marijuana illegally, but openly, fairly openly, for 7 years, until I was arrested for following my religious beliefs, selling marijuana to the priests of Zion. And I went to prison for it. Well, in the doing of that, I established myself at Zion in a court of law, while I defended my people's right to smoke marijuana, in accordance with the prophecy. And I went to prison, just as Jeremiah, the prophet, predicted. So I purposely, when I was given the choice, the judge literally asked me, Would you rather, it's like, will you take probation or prison? I looked him square in the eye. I said, dude, if you want me to not be high, you're going to have to put me in prison. Because I will break probation. So unless you're going to let me get high on probation, you better put my ass in prison. And that's exactly what he did. So I served my prison term just as the prophecy predicted that I would. I had to do it all by myself. And I did. It was the easiest 2 years of my life, let me tell you. Anyway, while I was in prison, and do need to tell you that on May 25th, 2015, I testified in court as to my belief in the prophecy of Israel and establishing myself as Zion. A month later, Donald Trump announced that he was going to run for presidency. The very first paragraph of the prophecy of Israel states that the gray aliens would put into power the basis of men to prove to humanity that they have the means to control the hearts and minds of humanity, which is exactly what God is supposed to do. So, I followed the instructions of prophecy. I set myself to prison without using money. I wrote the Book of Zion while I was watching President Donald Trump be elected into office as a direct result of my going to prison. And here we go. Donald Trump became the president, the basis of men. And just as foretold, he has torn down the United States of America, and now it is imploding because the Black Lives Matter movement versus the Trump movement versus the corporate movement. And if a house divided can't stand, how can a house that's split in three stand? It can't. It's gonna topple just as predicted in a sword destruction. And just as predicted, I'm gonna be right here telling you stories about Zion, giving you a reason to go camping, to trust in the grace, to know that this has all been planned by them to free us from all tyranny, to end all suffering, to wipe away all tears from our eyes, to give us a future that is free of war, free of all the depravities of this society, a society where we're free, where the only thing about you that matters is what you do, not what you look like, and definitely not how much money you have in the bank. So, I have done everything that the prophecy has told me to do in order to set the stage for not only a revolution of Zion, the foretold nation, sister nation to Israel, but also to create a future that is just going to be fantastic. That is my dream. That we come together, go camping on 420, walk away from society completely, take our fruits and our vegetables, and go out to the panhandle of the state of Nebraska where the land is organic, where the aquifer can provide us with water, where there's plenty of sand for all kinds of technology, and glass bombs. Everything is there for us to Minecraft our way to a new, better nation. So may the Grey watch over you, guide you, protect you, and keep you from all harm. May they teach you right from wrong, and may you be worthy of them. May your thoughts, words, and deeds reflect truth, good, and light, the unicorn way. Hold your head up high if you use drugs, because you have every right and reason to. Find your dream and pursue it in Zion. It'll be awesome. Let me tell you about it. I will in upcoming episodes. So, my name is Zion. I love you way too much to ever say goodbye. So I'm gonna say later now.